All right, so get this. You want to speak English competently, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we found this source, and it lays out a plan that's so clear
Okay.
and so actionable. It's like, get out there and chat. It's all
Mm.
about like weaving English into your daily life,
Yeah.
not treating it like some textbook thing you have to tame.
I like that.
And you know what really grabbed me?
What's that?
This idea of thinking in English, like narrating your day in your head.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
Wild, right?
Yeah, what's fascinating is that it kind of taps into how they naturally learn languages. You
Yeah,
think about kids. They're not memorizing grammar rules.
right.
They're just surrounded by sounds and, meaning.
Right, totally.
This source just applies that to adults in a smart way.
So, okay, step one is all about this immersive environment. But
Yeah.
what does that actually look like beyond like the obvious stuff?
Sure.
Like, yeah, I can switch my phone to English, but is that really enough?
Well, it's a start, but think of it like layers.
Okay.
So you got like a passive layer, like your phone, maybe some music or TV in the background.
Right.
But then there's like an active layer.
Okay.
This is where the thinking in English comes in.
Uh-huh.
And it's not just translating. It's like having those internal monologues,
Yeah.
those, what should I eat for dinner?
Yeah.
Moments all in English.
Whoa. Okay, that sounds really intense.
Yeah.
Is that even doable? I feel like I would just get stuck constantly.
It's like any workout,
Yeah.
You got to start slow.
Okay.
So try narrating like simple tasks, like making coffee.
Okay.
First, I grab the mug,
Yeah.
You'll be surprised how quickly your brain adapts.
Mm.
And the cool thing is, research shows that it actually rewires your neural pathways.
What? Brain rewiring. Okay, you got my attention.
It makes English feel more natural over time.
So is this thinking out loud thing part of that active immersion too?
Absolutely.
Because that feels even more daunting.
Yeah, think of it like this. Your internal voice is like your practice ground.
Right.
There's no audience. There's no judgment.
Mm-hmm.
You're free to stumble, experiment with phrases.
Yeah.
It builds fluency in a way that just memorizing words can't.
I can see that. So step 2 is all about this structured daily speaking practice, which knowing you'll love.
Of course.
It's like they created an English workout routine.
I love it. And there's a method to the madness.
Yeah.
So first you have the warm-up,
Okay.
like reading aloud, maybe focusing on some tricky sound.
Right.
Gets those vocal cords ready,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's that shadowing thing where you mimic a native speaker.
Yeah.
I actually used to do this with movie scenes as a kid.
Oh, cool.
I had no idea that a fancy name.
It's a classic for a reason.
Yeah.
Not only does it help with pronunciation,
Uh-huh.
but it also trains your ear for rhythm and intonation.
Right.
Those subtle things that make you sound more natural.
And then the grand finale, the thinking out loud part. You just pick a topic and go.
Exactly. It could be anything.
Okay.
Your to-do list, your dream vacation,
Right.
whatever's on your mind.
Mm-hmm.
The key is to force yourself to like formulate those thoughts in English
Yeah.
without overthinking it.
Right.
It's about building that mental muscle,
Okay.
that ability to just speak spontaneously.
So we've got our mental workout happening, but what about actual conversations?
Yeah,
That's got to be part of this daily practice too, right?
right. You are.
Yeah.
The source even recommends some specific resources,
Okay.
like language exchange apps.
Oh,
You
cool.
get to chat with native speakers, which is invaluable.
Awesome.
But honestly, even just finding opportunities to use your English throughout the day counts.
Right.
Even ordering a coffee.
It's all about get comfortable with actually speaking,
Exactly.
not just thinking about it.
Yeah, it's like any skill, the more you do it, the more natural it becomes.
Totally.
And that's where confidence really starts to blossom.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got like immersion and daily track that's a pretty solid foundation, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. What about vocabulary? I'm guessing the source isn't going to tell us to like cram flashcards all day long.
Thankfully, no.
Okay, good.
Rote memorization
Yeah.
might work for a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's not really how our brains learn deeply.
Okay.
This source gets that.
Uh-huh.
And advocates for like a more natural approach.
Okay, so what does learning vocabulary naturally even mean? I'm picturing like wandering through a forest and just absorbing words from trees.
Not quite.
Okay.
It's more about understanding how words work in the real world,
Okay.
not just as definitions in a dictionary.
Right.
The source gives a great example with the word confident.
Okay.
Instead of just memorizing the word confident,
Yeah.
they recommend using it in a sentence like, I feel confident when I speak English with my friends.
Right. So it's about making connections, seeing how words work together.
Exactly.
Not just like memorizing them in isolation.
Yeah,
Kind of like learning a dance routine, not just the individual steps.
that's a great analogy.
Okay, puzzle solving vocabulary. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
But now we got to tackle the elephant in the room.
Uh-oh, what's that?
Pronunciation.
Right.
I think we can both agree that's a big one for a lot of English learners.
Absolutely, good pronunciation is important. It's
Oh.
not just about sounding fancy.
Right.
It's about being clear and being understood
Uh-huh.
and, feeling more confident.
The source has some really interesting tips for this.
Okay, like what?
Starting with this record yourself challenge.
Yeah,
And I have to admit, I cringe when I hear my own voice.
I think we all do.
But I guess there's no escaping it if you want to improve, right?
You got to face your fears.
Yeah,
It's the best way to get an objective perspective.
right.
You might be surprised by what you hear.
Totally.
Maybe you're stressing the wrong syllable or swallowing sound.
Yeah.
Awareness is the first step.
And once you've kind of identified those areas that need work,
Uh-huh.
the source recommends good old-fashioned phonetic drills.
Yes.
I remember doing those in school, like repeating those tongue twisters till my head spun.
Yeah, those are classics.
Yar!
They're helpful because they make you isolate and practice specific sounds.
Okay.
So you're training your mouth muscles.
All right.
It's like doing reps at the gym, but for your tongue.
Okay. Tongue workouts, check. But then the source throws in something that sounds more fun.
Okay, what's that?
Mimicking native speakers.
Oh, yeah.
Is this where my childhood obsession with watching American sitcoms pays off?
Absolutely.
Liza.
By observing and indicating how native speakers talk.
Mm-hmm.
Their rhythm, their intonation.
Yeah.
You're picking up on all those little things that make spoken English sound natural.
So it's like learning an accent through osmosis.
Yeah,
Kind of.
too.
We can get behind that.
Cool.
But there's one final piece of this puzzle we haven't talked about.
Okay, what's that?
The mental game.
Right?
Like fear and self-doubt, all
Mhm.
those things that hold us back from actually speaking confidently.
Yeah, that inner critic.
Exactly.
This source has a really interesting perspective on mistakes.
Okay.
They say that mistakes aren't failures.
Right.
They're proof that you're learning,
I love that.
that you're pushing yourself.
Because, let's be honest, we all make mistakes.
Oh, for sure, even native speakers.
It's part of being human.
Totally. And by shifting our focus
Yeah.
from perfection to progress,
Uh-huh.
it takes the pressure off.
Right.
And it creates space for growth.
Okay.
The source even gives this bold advice.
What's that?
When in doubt, just say something.
I love that. I
Yeah.
can already hear our listeners nodding along.
Me too.
Because it's so true. The biggest obstacle is our own fear.
Yeah, that voice in our head saying we're not good enough.
Exactly.
It's all about taking action, even if it's not perfect.
Right.
Because with every attempt, we build confidence.
Uh-huh.
We prove to ourselves that we can do it.
Totally.
And that's where the magic happens.
It's funny how we always overcomplicate things, right?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to learning a new language.
Uh-huh.
We get caught up in like grammar rules
Yes.
and, all this fancy vocabulary.
Yeah,
But sometimes the simplest approaches are the most effective.
I agree.
It's like this source is reminding us to go back to basics.
Totally.
Be like curious and playful like we were as kids.
Yeah, when we were first learning.
Exactly. It's not about becoming a grammar guru.
Right.
It's just about making the language a part of our lives.
Yeah, using it naturally.
And what I find really empowering about this source
Yeah,
is how much it emphasizes action.
I agree.
Like it's not enough to just understand the ideas.
Right.
We have to actually put them into practice.
You got to do it.
Even if it's messy at first.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that saying,
What is it?
the only way to do it is to do it.
I love that.
We can analyze techniques all day long,
Uh-huh.
but we have to actually speak.
Yeah, and that's where the confidence comes from.
Exactly.
Not from being perfect,
Right.
but from just doing it.
So thinking back on everything.
Yeah.
What stands out to you as like the most valuable takeaway?
If I had to choose one,
Yeah.
it would be that immersive environment.
Right.
It's not just changing your phone's language.
Uh-huh.
It's about like actively finding ways to use English in your day.
I love that it's about making English part of your daily life.
Yeah, like your soundtrack.
Through music and podcasts.
Yeah, even conversations in your head.
Exactly. And the more you do it,
Mhm.
the easier it gets.
Your brain starts making connections.
And English becomes more natural.
Yeah, less foreign.
That's such an inspiring message for our listeners.
It is.
It's not about like changing overnight.
Right.
It's about small, consistent effort.
Yeah, over time.
What's one small action our listeners could take today to start building that environment?
It could be as simple as listening to an English podcast
Okay.
or watching a video clip while you drink your coffee.
Those are great ideas. And remember, even 5 minutes a day makes a difference.
Totally consistency is key.
Not intensity.
And most importantly, have fun.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to try new things.
Absolutely. Language learning should be an adventure,
Yes.
not a chore.
Embrace the challenge.
And celebrate the progress.
Exactly.
Never stop exploring.
Well said.
So we've reached the end of our deep dive today
If you believe it.
into confident English speaking.
It flew by.
We hope you found it insightful.
And empowering.
Remember, you have the tools
And the resources.
out there supporting you.
So keep practicing.
Keep learning.
And keep speaking confidently.
We're cheering you on.
We'll see you next time.